Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across this beautiful blue-green globe of ours. Welcome to Real News Live. It is a Toxically Masculine Tuesday. I'm your host, Mike Barrett in Las Vegas, Nevada, joined as I always am by the usual crew around the nation and around the world. Starting on my immediate right, the smartest man on the planet, the guy with a brain the size of a planet, somewhere in the Carolinas, Dr. Brooks Agnew, the master of Ivan. The controller of Ivan and Roxy, Dr. Brooks Agnew. Brooks, how you doing? What are you drinking? And how's life in the Carolinas today?
Life at the Carriage House is great. It's the best place in the country to relax. I'm drinking ice cold grapefruit juice out of my Dale's Wheels Through Time Museum mug.
All right. We're such
very, very cool place. Largest collection of antique Harley-Davidson motorcycles in the world.
Oh, wow. Cool. That's almost like, for me, that would be like the Indy 500 Museum in Indianapolis, which I've been to. That's my favorite place to go to see the STP Eagles and McLarens and all that stuff. So the man immediately below me, but not beneath me in any way, shape, or form, the producer of the show, the owner of the Lickety Split, the finest strip club in Nashville, Tennessee, and all-around great guy. And look, women want him and men want to be him. TV Blake Wally. Blake, how you doing? How's the split tonight? And what are you drinking?
Doing well, Mike. Great to be here. Lickety Split. We're just getting warmed up, just coming back into town. We're getting the karaoke thing, the lounge set up, but we don't expect the girls in for a couple more hours yet. But we are going to be rocking later if you want to stop by. And today, we're going to be drinking. Since I just got back from Arkansas, from somewhere in the Ozarks.
Yeah,
Steve has gifted me some of this. This has got a cool story. This is called Cherry Bounce. Apparently, this was George Washington's go-to drink. Wow. He was known for carrying this everywhere he went. This could have been like a secret, elixir weapon to help us win the Revolutionary War. It's got just a little bit of booze in it. It's just to warm you up. It's got a lot of good nutritional things and such. So anyway, I'm looking forward. I had a taste of it, and I'm looking forward to trying some more. Steve, maybe you can fill me in on the rest of the story here, because it is a cool story.
That's why he was chopping down the cherry tree, Steve, so he could drink cherry wine. Is that
exactly? It was his favorite drink. He took it everywhere. During the Revolutionary War, he took it by the barrel full, and he always had his canteen full of it. So I guess, being the father of our country, that's what you need to do is make yourself some cherry bounce.
All right. And of course, the last member to be introduced, but not the last member in any way, shape, or form, the most masculine member of this Toxically Masculine group from somewhere in the Ozarks, my buddy, the man who taught Blake Wally how to shoot this weekend, Steve Doran, the Trail Boss. Steve, how are you? What are you doing? And what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Amish Bloody Mary. We went over to the Amish store while Blake was here. They have the best spicy tomato juice. They put all kinds of stuff in it. And I put a little splash of vodka in there. And you're right. I am the most toxically masculine. If I were to ever leave the show, you'd have to change it to Wednesday and have weak-ass Wednesday, because without me, you got nothing.
Right on.
Pee-wee. All right, we're going to do a little advertising. We're going to change the format a little bit. We're going to do a little advertising tonight before we get on with the show. Just want to let everybody know, if you want to get connected with me, head on over to mikebarra.blogspot.com or just mikebarra.com, where you can pick up all the shows I do with my friends, people that I actually like tonight's Toxically Masculine Tuesday show. You can also pick up my interview I did with AJ Gentili of the Y-Files, 1.8 million views and rising. That link is there. Lectures I've done, latest shows we've got, articles I've written in the past, links to my books, my schedule of upcoming appearances, which is getting busier and busier for 2026. Lots of events. I'm going to be in Sedona on July 18th and 19th to speak at the Sedona 5D event. You can also pick up reviews I've done of famous UFO cases and interviews I've done with people in the UFO community. MikeBarra.blogspot.com. And if you click on a video there, where it will take you is to the Rumble channel. The Rumble channel is now Mike Barra Official, where you can line up, you can subscribe, you can super chat and Rumble ran over there. Click the little green button, give us a little bit of money for doing the show. After all, I have to pay these guys in terms of Christmas presents. Also, please don't forget to visit our wonderful sponsor, my wonderful sponsor, CBD Gurus. We can get all kinds of cool CBD-based products for your health. Lion's Mane gummies, Miracle Gold gummies, all kinds of cool stuff. THC gummies, mushroom stuff, liquids, fluids, all kind of cool stuff. The discount code is ALIEN, ALIEN. Just type in ALIEN, no uppercase, no S on the end, just ALIEN. Also, please don't forget to visit our other wonderful sponsors, my wonderful sponsors, the folks over at MikeBarraPets.com. You can get all kinds of holistic, vegan, mushroom-based pet supplements for your dogs, your cats, your horses, your donkeys. They're awesome stuff. I got Barkley on the Mojos and the Mush Puppies. There's some products called Super Sauce for the dog and cats. There's high quality cat foods you can mix the Super Sauce into. They've also got a great line of stuff for human consumption, the Enforce line of products for human consumption. Get on over there. They got everything. They got chocolates. They got starter packs. They've got coffee, and they've got the new longevity pack diet program, which is really working well for a lot of people. Great products. Send an email to Diana at MikeBarraPets@gmail.com. That's MikeBarraPets@gmail.com with whatever is ailing you, and you will soon feel better. And one last thing, hit the folks up over at LifeWave. LifeWave are these amazing patches that I've been wearing now for over a year. The X39 base patch, the SP6 patch is great for hormone balancing and appetite suppression. I lost 15 pounds just simply putting those two patches on. They're great products. They reflect back your body's own infrared emissions onto yourself, stimulating the growth of stem cells in a specific frequency, which heals a specific part of your body. They've got sleep patches. They've got energy enhancers. Ice Wave is fantastic for pain. I used the Ice Wave on a toothache I had. It just went away in 5 minutes. Unbelievable stuff. And you can sign up to become a reseller at the link which is provided in the description. So thank you guys for all of that stuff. And I do have one announcement to make, which is that tomorrow I will be starting a new show. It'll still be Tell the Truth Wednesday, but I've got a new co-host. It's a surprise. Some of you have figured it out, but I'm not going to tell you if you're right or not. Brand new co-host starting tomorrow, and we're going to be doing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The time right now is 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern for that show. So tune in. All right, guys.
For all of you, so that you know, at Christmas we get a $50 gift certificate from Mike, and the only thing it's good for is buying his books on Amazon.
That's correct. So $2 or $3 comes back to me in the form of royalties. So, it's only a $47 gift certificate when we get all said and done with it. All right. Monty Wilson has started the Rumble Rants and Super Chats. By all means, hit us up with that. We appreciate that. We can definitely use it. Is Steve familiar with Sandia Labs? I worked on an Air Force base in Florida and worked extensively with Sandia. Steve, I imagine you know a lot.
I am very familiar with Sandia Labs and worked very closely with them when I was at Los Alamos.
Okay, great. And rest in peace to Brian Engelman, Brian of the Strictly Football Show. His kitty Nimbus, who was 20 years old, passed away this weekend.
Wow.
20 years old. Brian Engelman, who's on the Strictly Football Show with me and Jim Mitchell.
He passed away?
The dog, no, the cat passed away. Nimbus passed away.
Thought he
did. Cat was a good buddy of mine.
I
took care of him in 2019.
Yeah, I would be a little more upset if Brian passed away.
I would trade the cat for Brian. So if Brian passed than the cat.
Just reminding everybody, please like, subscribe, Rumble Rant, and Super Chat. That keeps the show going. And rest in peace, Nimbus. Yeah, okay, so thank you.
He was a cool cat. I knew him.
Yeah. I didn't know him, but everybody who's met him tells me what a great cat he was. All right, we are going to get going with things. We have a bunch of things to talk about today. The first of which is there is a peace deal in Iran, or theoretically there is a peace deal with the Iranians. It was signed off by Vice President J.D. Vance, which is odd, and President Trump. They signed the initial electronic signatures, and the rumor is the final signature is going to be on Friday, Juneteenth. You get a feeling Donald Trump wants to kind of blow Juneteenth out of the headlines or something on Friday. It's pretty interesting. They're supposed to sign it off, after which a lot of things are going to happen. Vice President J.D. Vance went, I think, on The View today and defended the plan. This is from the White House. It says there's a firm commitment backed up by verifiable action to never develop or buy a nuclear weapon by the Iranians. That's the whole point of this entire operation. Let's listen to Vice President Vance.
The Iranians have just had their conventional military destroyed. Their country has totally changed. They have a totally different leadership than they had even 3 months ago. And so what is happening is that some elements in their society are trying to sell this deal as positively as possible to their domestic audience. Now, that's expected. It's frustrating to me, but that's expected. What is a little unexpected and more frustrating to me is that you see certain people in the American media literally recirculating hardliner talking points from the IRGC instead of telling the truth about what's going on. So first of all, not a single cent of American money goes to Iran, not $300 billion, not $24 billion, not any of the money, the dollar figures that I've seen floating around. Number two, this is a firm commitment backed up by verifiable action to never develop or buy a nuclear weapon by the Iranians, which, remember, that was the whole point of this entire operation, is to ensure not just that Iran wouldn't have a nuclear weapon for the next couple of years, but that they would make that long-term commitment. Now, here's the important part, though, is there are benefits to Iran if they perform their end of the obligation, not money from the United States, but maybe Qatar or the UAE or Saudi Arabia. Maybe they want to invest in Iran and build a power plant. The United States, our approach to that is going to be, yeah, you can do that so long as the Iranians are behaving properly. But if they don't behave properly, they don't get any of the benefits of this bargain. And so you see the propagandists who are saying, here are all the things Iran gets. And the fine print, which actually the big print in the actual agreement, is they don't get any of that stuff unless they totally transform themselves as a country. And if they do, that's a huge win for everybody, for the region. If they don't, no skin off our back.
Okay, so that was J.D. Vance earlier today. I guess it was on Fox. My mistake on that one. Brooks, I want to start with you, and then I'm going to go to Steve. What do you think of this deal? It's basically, people are saying it's an agreement to negotiate an agreement, but it's also an agreement. The White House is saying it's an agreement. We got what we wanted. What do you think about all this, and what do you know about it?
I don't think it's an agreement. I think it's terms of unconditional surrender of the IRGC. That's what it should be, and that's the way it's going to go down in history. And if they do surrender and the people of Persia are able to pick up the pieces and carry on with their country without the mullahs, without Islam running their country, I think everybody wins. The whole world wins.
Okay. Steve, what's your opinion in this particular agreement? I think any agreement that doesn't allow us to go in and get
the
that
Persian people.
Good.
I disagree with Brooks. I don't believe the Persian people are going to pick up the pieces. I believe the same terrorist, hideous, horrible regime is going to stay in power within the country. That's the whole point of this deal, is that they will not move forward with obtaining nuclear weapons, which, again, is a lie on their part. I mean, you can't trust any Islamic nation. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear to get you off their back so they can do whatever they want. The Persian people have been hung out to dry. They're going to continue to be persecuted and tortured by the Islamic regime. Nothing is going to change except the regime is going to go further underground to accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish, and will be back there within a matter of a couple years, if not several months.
Okay, Blake, you're kind of a neutral party in all this. If the agreement holds, if Iran does comply, Iraq, I get them all mixed up. If Iran does comply with this agreement and we get our hands on the uranium, which will expose, of course, the fact that it's all American uranium sold to them by Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. If that does hold, will you be okay? And by the way, you're muted, so you want to unmute. If the agreement does hold, will you be satisfied with the outcome of this war? Because I don't think Trump promised no new wars. I think he promised no new forever wars. But what do you think?
Well, I'm gonna have a different opinion, and hopefully equally controversial. Yeah, it feels like it's Groundhog Day again. There's gonna be peace or not meme I've seen recently. But in my opinion, it's where I disagree with Steve about who to trust. To me, there's only one country on this entire planet that actually wants this war, and they're hell bent on keeping it continue. And it's not Iran, it's not Russia, not China, not Saudi Arabia, Europe, Japan. It's just one called Israel. And I don't think you can trust anything with them. They're the ones that keep wanting to bomb Beirut and keep this thing going on and keep the operations in Gaza and whatever. They want us to provide the weapons, the defense systems, the manpower, the money, and they will bribe and blackmail every politician and news network that we have available. They'll have Larry Ellison just bought TikTok so they can cover up war crimes. So it's not about, anti-Semitism. It's about skepticism of Zionism. And I have nothing but love for the Jews that are America first. They're loyal to our country first. Don't gaslight us about the Gaza genocide and what's really happening in the Middle East. But I think the Zionist cult are acting like parasites. I don't think they've ever been on our side. And they should be purged peacefully from our republic immediately if we want to survive. They are the biggest obstacle to world peace. And I think we should deport some of these neocons and such to Israel and cut off their foreign aid. And then I think we can have world peace. The mullahs are awful, but I think we can make a deal with some of these other people. And I think Israel is the worst actor on the world stage.
Wow. Okay. I didn't expect the fire to come out of Blake today. I gotta take a different stance. I don't consider what's going on in Gaza to be genocide. I consider it to be extermination of pests and terrorists, and I couldn't care less. I would prefer the Muslim population of this planet to be zero. And if the Israelis are going to do that for us, fine. But you bring up an interesting point in that there is a lot of conflict about this agreement from Israel, because Netanyahu went out yesterday. Can I go?
Well, I always love how people say that, Israel commits all this genocide, but all these Muslims that literally burn babies inside of metal cages, that rape women, that cut off their breasts, that slice them to pieces, that torture them to death. That's not genocide. That's not a problem at all. But if Israel responds to being attacked by the Islam, they're committing genocide. But these Muslims, they're just defending themselves by killing women and children. What kind of bullshit is that?
Well, I hear you, but I'm not picking sides on this. You're right.
Total fucking ignorance.
You're right. They do commit atrocities. I absolutely agree with you.
That's total.
I'm not picking sides.
To even say that the Islamic regimes are being persecuted. They persecute everybody they come in contact with. It's a fucking ridiculous statement.
Well,
right, but they didn't have
yeah.
nuclear weapons. We had no reason to go in there. We only went in there for Israel. That's
we did not.
undeniable.
No, we did not. We went in there because of the money. It's all about the money.
I don't know about
Wake
that.
up.
No,
Wake
Bibi
the fuck
Netanyahu dragged us in there. I'm not just saying him under the bus, but it's just the mentality of the culture over there. And they think that they can just use the United States to do whatever they want. And they have too much money and power. And they need to take a step back. We need to cut everybody off.
I will buy you a ticket to any Islamic country that you want to go to, and we'll see if you make it back. I guarantee you.
But I'm not friends with them. I'm not saying that they're good guys. I'm saying let's keep America out of both. Yeah, that's their problem over there. Yeah.
Blake, I agree with everything you say except for the word Israel, which I would replace with London. It is London, the Bank of London and the Bank of the Vatican that is behind all of this strife and scurry. And this is an interesting question. Brooks, did you want to refer? Do you want to refer?
I think you're dead right. It's England that's been behind the escalation. England's the one that financed Israel or Iran. In fact, Lloyd's of London has something called a terror premium that goes on their insurance policies that jacks their profits into the trillions of dollars. Yeah. Because if Iran bangs a couple trash can lids together, Lloyd's of London gets to jack their insurance rates.
Yeah. So we have that, but I want to push back a little bit, Blake, on your notion that Israel owns the United States or Israel owns Donald Trump, because there was an interesting exchange over the last couple of days. We're going to start with Bibi Netanyahu and bring him into the show and listen to what he said yesterday about the peace agreement with Iran. Oh, great. It's in fucking Hebrew. Okay.
אני אחראי לאינטרסים הביטחוניים של ישראל, אני עומד עליהם,
ואני
רוצה להגיד לך איך עומדים. צריך לעמוד עליהם, לא בהתלהמות, לעשות את זה בתבונה, וזה דורש הרבה ניסיון, והרבה תבונה, הרבה היכרות עם הזירה האמריקנית. זה דורש הרבה ניסיון. אני חושב שאני עושה את זה על הצד הטוב ביותר.
And I'll just try to read it like this. A lot of experience and understanding and a lot of familiarity with the American, I don't know. If there was okay. Well, President Trump and I, what did he say? We see eye to eye. So Bibi said that, and then we're going to go back, and then, oh shoot. Okay, I had that. And then,
what are you going to show, the Y files?
No. Hang on. Okay. I don't know what happened there because I had another one lined up. Trump had a response to that. That comment was yesterday, and then Trump had a response today, which when he was questioned, okay, this is a bunch of bullshit. Great. I don't get where that video went. Why did it do that? Okay, I don't have the video, but hang on a second, guys. I'm gonna drop. I don't know what fucking happened there, but I'm gonna drop. At least there's no porn on the screen. Give me a second.
Well, I mean, you're always pushing the Y file, so I figured you had like a little Y files clip.
Okay, so here it is. It skipped. Okay, so here it is. So Trump took questions from the at the G7 today, and this was how he responded to questions about Israel and Netanyahu's statements.
Are you frustrated with Netanyahu, sir?
No, we had a great relationship. We're talking about some end details. I didn't like that he did an attack based on there's a very minor little thing with some drones that were released, and he ends up doing I saw that attack. I saw where that bomb went. Did you see what that? That was a vicious, that was too much. You can do too much also. But we've had a very effective relationship. Without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel. There's no other president who was willing to do what I did. I've had a great relationship with Bibi, but now Bibi has to be more responsible with respect to Lebanon. Lebanon used to be a great country. It was a country where you had professors, doctors, lawyers. The great intellect was in Lebanon. Now it's terrible. I would say of all countries, they've been treated the worst. And they can't defend themselves. And they have Hezbollah, which is a problem for them. So now I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with Hezbollah. They should have been able to do the job faster. It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran.
Okay, so that was President Trump's response to what Blake just asserted. Brooks, let's start with you. What do you think of that? I mean, I think that sounds like a guy who's trying to balance both sides on this, and I mean, Blake, you said they didn't have a nuclear weapon. Maybe they didn't, but they were about to get one. That's actionable intelligence. I'm pretty sure they were about to get one. We know they have the uranium because our friends, the Clintons and the Obamas, gave it to them. Brooks, what do you think of that response? I think it shows Trump is not on Israel's side. He's taking a neutral stance, trying to get peace in the region.
Well, I understand both sides. I mean, it is not Lebanon that Israel is attacking. I know that's what they say in the news, but it really isn't. It's Hezbollah. Hezbollah operates out of Lebanon, and they are bothering the settlements on the border. Now, I have to admit that the response from Israel was disproportionate. It was a small little skirmish, a small little thing that Hezbollah did on the border, and Israel went in and really hit them hard. Now, that could be a lesson to Hezbollah, don't mess with us. But I think it's also a motivational to Hezbollah to escalate things. And I think that Lebanon is just in the way. And I agree, the Lebanese people are awesome. I've worked with a bunch of them. Their women are gorgeous. Their men are intelligent. They have a lot of honor. They're not particularly Islam. They're a mostly Christian nation. But Hezbollah has been a very powerful Iran, shall I say, English proxy in that area to try to be part of the constant attack on Israel. And they got to go.
I know my brother in the 80s knew a Christian girl from Lebanon. She was beautiful. It was a beautiful country before the Muslims came in and started screwing that up, Blake. And it wasn't the Israelis that screwed that country up. It was the Muslims. And so I don't know what to think. Go ahead, Blake. If you got
it seems like there's a lot of Middle Eastern countries that have Christians, Muslims, and Jews all living in peace together.
Name one.
Like Lebanon, like even Iran, they have Jews in Iran.
But they don't live in peace.
I don't exactly know the full story.
They killed 40,000 of them in the streets.
I think there's but Christians, I think, get treated better by some.
No, they don't.
Oh no, they don't.
Wait. We also had the issue with the Jews that were, kind of condemned from, say, 109 countries, but they were welcomed in by the Ottoman Empire, as from the Muslims, to live in peace with them. And so some of them feel betrayed that, the Zionist faction came in to colonize and retake because, of the ancient biblical texts. So some of it's been twisted. I just want us out of there. I don't want to support any of this. And even like when this first came to be, Harry S. Truman had to make this deal. And he knew the Arabs and the Zionists were going to have trouble living together. He didn't want to get involved. He just wanted everybody to chill out and get along. But he didn't have much faith, and now we're seeing that they don't get along. So I don't know how we're going to fix this. I just don't want us to support it and funding these guys with weapons.
But they have gotten along, and they do get along until you introduce radical Islam, and that is the problem. And you can try to separate Islam from radical Islam, but it doesn't really separate. The whole ideology is a disease. It's like saying I'm a socialist instead of a communist. And communists are bad and they murder people, but socialists, we're okay. We just want government to pay for everything and have, tax the rich. And then the next thing you know, there's Che Guevara going around slaughtering people after 2-minute trials and stuff like that. So I see the problem is Islam. And they're the ones that need to be separated out and live in, because the Christians and the Jews, I think, would be just fine in these areas. And they have been in the past. I mean, Iran was a beautiful place when it was a Christian country and Zoroastrian country.
So it wasn't until Lebanon was one of the most beautiful places in the Middle East.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Beirut was a vacation spot. And, you know, here's the thing, Blake, I would like there to be peace as well, but it's really hard to achieve that when you have these minions of evil stirring things up constantly. So how do you, I mean, don't you have to beat them both sides down until they're ready to make a deal and put an end to everything? I mean, that's what I see Trump is trying to do.
Yeah, he's caught in a tough situation, but I kind of think of, you know, Zionism as the radical form of Judaism. I don't have a problem with Judaism. I don't have a problem with Jews that love America, but I don't really support the foreign policy of this new version of Israel.
Well,
and I think a lot of countries around the world are getting sick of their stuff, but they have so much influence here that, you know, we give them a pass and we allow them to kind of walk all over us and even drag us into foreign conflicts.
You know, Blake, I would tend to agree with you, except that since 9/11, we have not had a major influx of synagogues and Jews and Zionists. We have had a major importation of radical Muslim terrorists who have taken over some of our towns, taken over some of our cities, taken over some of our congressional districts, and are getting ready to take over some of our states. They're the enemy. They're the enemy. If you have to pick one enemy, I'm picking them. I'm not picking the freaking Jews.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough that we don't need anything to do with radical jihad, and they do need to be condemned. And screw the mullahs, whatever, all of it. Hezbollah, Hamas, they're all evil. I just want to separate all of the extremists and put them somewhere else, and for us to stay out of it. And the rest of us that want to live in peace.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Islam with Sharia law has been an aggressive country since the 15th century. Thomas Jefferson had the right idea when he found out that they were the Barbary pirates and they were attacking our ships just because we were not Islam and they were out to conquer the world. Jefferson formed the Marines and they went to Tripoli and they destroyed them. That's the proper way to do it. Islam needs to be destroyed off the face of the earth.
I can't disagree with that.
I bet they were drinking this stuff too, cherry bombs. That's the recipe.
Probably were. Okay, I can answer a couple of questions real quick.
Okay.
Number one, do Blake and I argue like this when we're together? Yes, we do. The difference between men and boys is at the end of the day, we're still friends, even though we disagree. We disagree on like a ton of stuff, but we agree on. I mean, we agree on some stuff. We disagree on a ton of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're still friends. We don't hate each other. And by the way, this show is completely real. We have no idea what Mike's going to say before he says it. We don't. No, we don't get a briefing saying he's going to talk about this, and this. It comes on the screen, and we respond to it. We respond to it as individuals, the way that we would respond to it if we were on any network, ask the same questions. But all of us here, at least, at the end of the day, are still friends. We're not like little bitches who, he offended me or insulted me, and I'm not talking to him.
And I often find, Steve, that when both sides of an argument, two guys are arguing, when they're both armed, I find that they tend to get along pretty well. I find that. What's the other point, Steve?
No, that was just my point. Somebody asked if we argued this way when we were together. Yes, to a point. We disagreed on a number of things, but we also agree on a number of things. But at the end of the day, we're still friends. We still support each other in what we do. Outside of Toxically Masculine Tuesday, and so that's just the way it is when you're men. That's how you behave. If you're a boy or a little bitch, then you get offended and you run away and you don't want to have anything to do with the person that disagrees with you. You only want to be surrounded by people who agree.
Yeah.
And
that makes you a liberal.
Let's face reality. I disagree with Mike. I disagree with Brooks. Brooks disagrees with me. Mike disagrees with me. It's not like we're ganging up on Blake.
No, we have been lately, but Blake's been kind of a bitch.
Blake's been a little liberal.
Right. I like it. Right. I enjoy it. All right. Yeah, squirm a little. Makes me feel alive.
We love you, Blake. Go home. All right, let's get out of this question.
Love you guys too.
Let's get out of this question. I got a few other things I want to talk about. So I want to put a final question to the panel one by one. We'll start with you, Brooks. Do we have peace in the Middle East, and are we closer than we have ever been to peace between these warring nations in the Middle East?
Yes, I think we're closer than we've ever been, but it is only because of the unconditional surrender of Iran. The other countries have modernized and are being humane about their involvement with the world. They're not launching missiles at each other. Iran, which means Aryan, they're Nazis. They have been since World War II. They needed to unconditionally surrender and give up. And that's what this is. It is a negotiation, but it is a negotiation for unconditional surrender.
All right, Steve, are we closer now than we have ever been to peace in the Middle East?
No. The Middle East is always going to be in turmoil. If they don't hate us, if they're not coming after us or Israel, they're fighting amongst each other. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be. They're never going to quit fighting. It just depends on who they're fighting with this week.
Okay. Blake, are we closer now than we have ever been to peace in the Middle East?
No, not at all. Not from what I've seen. And no disrespect to Brooks. I don't know about the unconditional surrender. I would agree with Steve that they would die before they would ever submit to the West like that. And I'm seeing a lot of people refer to this now as like a J.D. Vance deal. And I see, the typical Zionists, the Shapiros, the Loomers, the Mark Levins, they're all freaking out about this. They're not going to be satisfied. I don't know how you're going to appease Israel in these negotiations. They seem to have an insatiable bloodlust to take down all the ancient Christian villages in Beirut. They have bigger plans for the greater Israel, it seems. And no, I don't trust them. I think we just need to cut them off, and they need to be put into a corner.
Okay. I say yes, we are closer to peace in the Middle East than we've ever been, and we might actually get it on Friday. All right, guys, 206 of you guys in here watching live, very small audience. That's the way this show is. It should be the best known news magazine on the internet, but only 5 of you guys have liked. Okay, I if you don't want to give us $5, $10, any kind of Rumble Rant or Super Chat, I get that. But you can at least like the video. So please hit the like button, okay? At least click on that little free like button. And I would really, really appreciate that. All right. A couple other things happened this week in foreign policy, which is really interesting, which is that DNI, or about to be former DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, announced that guess what? Speaking of the other war that's going on, Ukraine and Russia, that it turns out that there were biolabs in Ukraine after all. Let's see what Tulsi had to say about that.
After months of searching through intelligence community holdings and files, today I'm releasing new evidence of longstanding U.S. government funding of more than 120 biolabs in over 30 countries. Now, these biolabs include labs in places like Ukraine, which could be at risk of compromise due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, the intelligence community had previously warned that a US-funded biolab in Ukraine likely housed dangerous pathogens and remained vulnerable to longstanding threats of Russian attack, seizure, or damage. Now, until now, evidence regarding the full existence and funding of these laboratories had been knowingly withheld from you, the American people. Many of these U.S. government-funded biolabs are currently or have previously engaged in research using hazardous and highly contagious pathogens, and in some cases included dangerous gain-of-function research with very little visibility or oversight. Now, President Trump clearly understands the serious threat dangerous gain-of-function research poses to the American people. And this is why he took decisive action over a year ago. On May 25th, 2025, he signed an executive order to end federal funding of gain-of-function research around the world. Here at ODNI, I issued new guidance to the intelligence community directing increased collection on these laboratories and facilities overseas. And we're already seeing the results of this increased collection. We're learning new details, for example, on clinical trials that are underway at these facilities and that are raising significant ethical, financial, and security concerns regarding the supposed public health initiatives and U.S. national security. Now, despite the obvious potential for catastrophic global impact that research on dangerous pathogens in biolabs can have, politicians and so-called health professionals like Dr. Fauci, as well as entities within the Biden administration's national security team, lied repeatedly to the American people about the existence of U.S.-funded and supported biolabs. Not only did they lie, they threatened those who attempted to expose the truth. So this release today breaks new ground, as the information surrounding the existence, history, locations, and funding of these U.S.-funded biolabs has been intentionally covered up by very powerful people who falsely claimed that these biolabs didn't exist. Now, they accuse anyone who says otherwise to be foreign assets and traitors to America. Now, ODNI will continue working closely with partners across the U.S. government to identify exactly where these labs are and what pathogens they contain, to end dangerous gain-of-function research that threatens the health and well-being of the American people and people around the world.
Brooks, that's about as blunt as you can get. The biolabs did exist. We already knew that. Anybody who listened to Victoria Nuland testify to Congress, well, there's no biolabs, but we got to keep the Russians from getting their hands on them. Back in 2022 or whenever that was. Anybody who opposes it is an idiot. And they've said, I had people in Twitter, biolab is not the same thing as a bioweapons lab. And it's like, that's what they are. They're all bioweapons labs. Right? What else are you doing there? What do you think about this? That was really blunt and straightforward from DNI Gabbard. And it sounds like some people are going to finally get prosecuted on this. What say you?
Well, I hope so. And of course, what she did was bold, but we already knew this. We knew when the coup took place to unseat President Viktor Yanukovych from Ukraine, and all the orphanages were emptied by Putin's special forces when they came in. All those Russian children in those orphanages, thousands and thousands of them, whose parents had been killed by the Ukrainians, were being experimented on by these bioweapons labs. Yes, human experimentation, just like the Nazis did in the 40s, because they're Nazis. We knew about it. We wrote the best-selling book, #1 best-selling book, Charm of Favor, about it, and the sequel, Glance of Angels. And now, finally, the ODNI is catching up to us and making a public statement about it.
And it's about fucking time. Steve, should all the people, including Fauci, who created these biolabs, and again, I think it's very obvious COVID was created in one of these labs. The story is it was created in one of the Ukrainian labs, shipped to China for final modifications, and then released because, by the way, it was a virus geared to killing as many Chinese and Indian people as it could. It was genetically designed to do that. Should all these people, including Fauci, go to the gallows for the things that they've done with these biolabs?
Absolutely. I mean, they all deserve the death penalty. Anybody that experiments and uses orphan children for their experimentation and allows them to die hideous deaths, just like, when they do the same thing with animals. But, now we're talking human beings, we're talking children. These are crimes against humanity. These people need to be publicly hung. I mean, they don't deserve to be given a lethal injection and go easy. They need to be marched up on the gallows with a rope put around their neck and the floor falling out from underneath them so that they get to think about their death for 20 or 30 minutes prior to it happening. I mean, they are the most evil people on the planet. Those laboratories need to then be dismantled and blown up. All of those biological specimens need to be destroyed. All of that stuff has to go away. And the people who created it, like I said, they're just monsters.
Yeah, I think Fauci deserves a death penalty just for what he did to the beagles, what he did to the dogs. Blake,
by the way, the virus didn't work on India because they all take ivermectin.
They take ivermectin and they take chloroquine, from which they derive. They have a chloroquine. They have HCG, hydroxychloroquine, which they take, and they also have a chloroquine type of tea that they drink at night before bed for health, which is basically extracts the chloroquine from lemon peels. So yes, that is why it didn't work. But they are busy. They've been busy for the last 5-6 years coming up with a new one that's going to beat those wonder drugs, I think. So Blake, what's your feeling on this? Do you agree with the consensus, or do you have a different view?
No, I actually totally agree with Steve here. In fact, I even have some of the same words written down. Yeah, Americans should be, ashamed and outraged by this activity. They're basically ruining our good name and reputation around the world. The United States is not supposed to be doing stuff like this. Is like something. This is some like Mengele shit. So yeah, I believe that. Yeah, the monsters behind this need to be, exposed, prosecuted. Need to dig in what they were actually doing. Yeah, crimes against humanity. Put that all on display, and bring them to the Hague. We haven't, had a big mass trial there in a long time. So yeah, maybe it's time to start again and put people like Fauci up there and whoever. They did it to themselves, but if not, they have their right to get their lawyers and try to defend themselves. But this is going to be a hard one, and especially that they've been in an active cover-up for a number of years now.
Yeah, and they have let some of the statute of limitations pass on some of Fauci's crimes, which to me is just appalling. It's just absolutely appalling.
Okay, so as much as I disagree with military tribunals because of the stuff happened on an international level using the military, I would love to see Fauci and all those responsible in a military tribunal type setting where they're sitting there. They all have to be present at the same time, and all of the evidence against them is presented at once, and they can't wiggle worm out of any of it.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, there was another big major event at the White House on Sunday. Liberals lost their fucking minds because we had a UFC boxing match at the White House. And just a reminder that Teddy Roosevelt used to hold boxing matches where he boxed. Actually, where is it? He boxed. Yeah, here it is. Teddy Roosevelt regularly staged boxing matches in the White House, taking on anyone he could, including professional boxers. He only stopped boxing when his eyesight was permanently damaged by a punch from his military aide, Colonel Daniel T. Moore. Steve Doran would have done that to him. So, yeah, I agree, Laura. Put Fauci through what the Beagles went through. I agree. That's how he should be executed.
Yep.
And so we had this UFC event at the White House, and this was how it started. Watch that again. Wow, singing the national anthem with the flyover of them those are F-18s, I think, but big flyover, big jet power, and then we had during the fight we had this Joe Rogan interviewing one of the winners. Josh Hokett said this.
Alex Pereira, I want a shama on your mama. And lastly, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right,
All right. So he said, Michelle, this has caused some controversy. I've heard, although I cannot prove, that the president disapproved of this somehow. I don't know if that's true. Maybe one of you guys does.
Shook his hand. He shook his hand.
He shook his hand afterwards. But you know, it was kind of like a truth event.
By the way, it had 130 million people watched it live, more than the Super Bowl.
130 million people watched it, more than the Super Bowl. So I was going to ask Steve, is this a sign that America, the redneck America that you and I grew up in, is coming back? Are we winning the culture war? What do you think?
Well, I certainly hope so. In certain parts of the country, we're moving back toward a patriotic America. But, you know, we still have the larger states who are embracing socialism, communism, who are voting for laws and putting people in power that should not be there. As you stated earlier, we have the Muslims coming in, taking over entire cities and states, and putting their people into United States Congress. We need to make changes so that people who are not born in this country cannot run for office of any kind on any level. They have to be born here in order to obtain an office. But, you know, the fight is going to continue. I mean, it's something that isn't going to be it didn't start overnight. It's not going to be solved overnight. But one of the things that is making me happy is that more and more people are sick of being politically correct. They're calling the situations what they are. They're not trying to sugarcoat anything. And, you know, that is a great move in the right direction as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it seems to me white people have had enough. Blake, did you watch any of the UFC fights or any of the stuff surrounding it? And what do you think of the controversy? I understand that the rumors now leaked out that the Obamas are considering suing this guy for defamation.
Really?
Good luck with that.
I'd like to see the discovery.
I can't wait to see the discovery on that one. What's your
No, it's a cool story. I got mixed reviews on it. That is interesting. I didn't know Teddy Roosevelt was a badass. I mean, he is a badass. I didn't know he was actually boxing out on the front lawn, because I thought it was kind of a spectacle. I know, but I mean, give him credit, because I know I think Henry VIII was the last guy that was able to get into a big jousting match in front of the house and took a serious injury. So that's pretty cool. Now, but it does kind of remind me of, like, you know, late stage, like Roman Empire, bread and circus gladiator games on the White House lawn. But no, it's still cool. I used to be, you know, I still like the UFC and some of that mixed martial arts fighting. I did not tune in. I will have to. I had no idea that it had more ratings than the Super Bowl. Yes, funny moment there with that guy. Now, I'm not 100% about if Michelle is actually a man, but I'm about 99.9% sure that Barack Obama is gay. I don't care if he is, but just looking at his history and what I've seen shows me that that's probably the most likely thing. And if that's the case, then that makes Michelle either a man or a beard or a man with a beard, in my opinion. But
I care whether Barack Obama's gay, because he hid it and pretended he wasn't, and just as he pretended he was not a lot of other things.
But he would never have gotten elected if he was a gay man. If he was just with Reggie Love, they would have been like, "Sorry, Obama, you're never going to have a career outside of local Chicago."
If he just said, "I'm gay,"
president. Yeah.
I'm gay and my husband's a tranny, it would not have gone over very well.
I'm with Joan Rivers on this.
Yeah, Brooks. Brooks, any thoughts on this UFC event? And is it a sign of the culture being shifted, or is it, like Steve says, it's going to take 20 years to undo all this nonsense?
I think it'll take some time, but I think it was a great event. It was a statement of America. It was our fighting spirit. Trump has been doing marvelous things with Washington, D.C., the Circle of Columbus, the reflecting pool, a lot of the monuments that were defaced during the Biden administration have all been restored. There's a lot of the fountains in Meridian Park are back operational again, haven't been operational in 50 years. Trump is definitely beautifying Washington, D.C., making the country proud to be the country that it is. So I think it was a great event.
Yeah. Well, guess what? During the event, it now comes out a couple of days later that there was another attempt to assassinate President Trump during the event. Let's watch the Fox News report.
I believe that we're going to show is a rifle that belonged to her son, according to authorities. The other is a screen grab, several screen grabs showing aerial images and maps of the Washington, D.C. area and discussing where snipers possibly would be related to the White House. This is all evidence that is posted on an official court docket right now, an official government document. But I will say 19-year-old Tyson Proper's mother called police after she was concerned about his purchases and communications with people online. It then led them to conversations that he allegedly had with someone named Brian Roa and Michael Thomas in Southern California. They appeared yesterday before a federal judge. We're also told that there is a suspect in Nebraska and one in Missouri as well. So what we're being told here, Kaylee and everyone on the couch, is that this alleged plot consisted of a plan to have drones that were actually armed with some type of firepower go and attack buildings around the White House. And once people left, they were going to have snipers nearby attacking some of the people leaving. This was a serious plot. The FBI, the Secret Service investigating this right now. And as you heard, the deputy director of the Secret Service right there say that they believe there are more people out there. Right now, though, 5 people facing these charges. And it's incredible to go through these documents and see what happened. But it appears that it was this 19-year-old's mother in Ohio who really spilled the beans on this entire case by letting people know that she had some concerns about her son, Kaylee.
Thank goodness that mom did that. And that 19-year-old is the one I mentioned who was alleged to use his graduation money to purchase these weapons. Wow, David, thank you for this update.
Thanks.
Okay, so have we, gentlemen, Brooks, starting with you, have we now normalized, have the Democrats and the media normalized attempting to kill President Trump because they don't agree with his policies?
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't just graduation money that was involved in this. There was a lot of money involved in this. And there were 23 people involved in the Signal chat that the FBI finally infiltrated. So there are 18 fugitives still at large. And I'll bet you money, some of those 18 that are left are involved with the Democrat Party, deeply involved with the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could make a RICO case against the Democrats with some of the, if you look at the associations of everybody who's tried to kill the president in the last 2 years, 2.5 years, well, 2 years really since 2024, they're pretty much all Democrats. Maybe you can make a RICO case on this, but Steve,
well,
you're the...
Don't be surprised if there aren't 18 suicides in the next 24 hours.
Okay. Steve, doesn't this signal a unhealthy obsession with the left about killing people they disagree with? They already killed Charlie Kirk. Now they want to kill, they've been trying to kill President Trump for years now. And believe me, I know about more assassination attempts than that. I could do a whole video on that. So what do you think, Steve?
Well, the left has always been that way.
Yeah.
Like Brooks said, it takes a lot of money to put something like this together. It takes more than 2 or 3 people to make a plan and pull this kind of thing off, especially when you're talking about bringing people in from across the United States. So they've had help. I'm not going to say that the Democrats in general have given them money, but people who side with the Democrats certainly provided them with a lot of money and would have provided them with a lot of assistance had that guy's mother not turned them in. And it was just by the grace of God that happened, that she turned in her own son. But had she not, Lord only knows what would have occurred at the White House and how many people would have been involved in it. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to be committing suicide, but as the law enforcement officials get closer and closer and start identifying them, they are going to either commit suicide or disappear like the scientists that have been disappearing.
Or like Tommy
the
Crooks.
last year and a half.
Yeah.
Or like Tommy Crooks with a bullet in the side of the head. We don't
Forget
know how that
Crooks. Where the fuck is Matthew Urich? Where is he? I
Yeah.
want to do some testing on him to see if he's the guy that was.
Well, they'll be committing suicide with like 8 bullets to the back of the head.
Exactly.
Like Vince Foster, you know, he committed suicide. He shot himself in the head twice.
Well, this was going to be a Vegas style slaughter.
That's what I think. That was the idea. Yeah, I agree. Blake is. What do you think about this? And you're getting a little buzz there. We only have one more issue, so what do you think? What do you think about this? And and is it time to? By the way, Lord, is my voice different? It doesn't feel different. No. Do I sound different?
No.
Might be different.
You sound great. You sound better than you normally do.
Might be different from yesterday because of I'm using this mic now as opposed to the mic in my webcam. Yeah. So, Blake, what do you think about this latest attempt or plot to kill the president? And is this just normalized now by the Democrats?
That could be. I'll admit I haven't dug a lot too heavily into this particular issue, and I'm already hearing a lot of people saying this is art possibly staged. And the problem is, as Brooks just mentioned with Thomas Crooks, they buried that story, and the FBI has such terrible credibility. I don't believe anything they say. So if there's 18 people involved, I wouldn't be surprised if 9 of them were feds. You know, after the Whitmer case, January 6th, and probably countless other things, I have zero reason to trust the FBI on anything. So I can see there being like an ulterior motive that this is all going to be part of some, you know, Palantir surveillance state type of thing that they're trying to build up, as some of the conspiracy theorists are putting out there. And so then they can just, Big Brother will just surveil everything and nothing like this can ever happen again. So I'm not too sold on this.
You're concerned that they will use things like this to increase the surveillance state.
Yeah.
You're concerned. I did find it interesting this week that President Trump said he's not going to renew the FISA court. He's not going to sign it unless he gets the SAVE Act. So it's pretty interesting.
I still maintain that he is going to declare a state of emergency to save the election infrastructure that is under attack from foreign adversaries.
Well, I hear that he may, in fact, sign an executive order on Friday about election infrastructure and start the whole legal process. Of course, the courts will immediately cancel it, but he'll basically say, and he thinks he's going to win in court, that you have to have paper ballots the same day voting everywhere. So, whoops, didn't mean to do that.
Well,
right.
I was going to say, by the way, I brought that up on another program on Saturday night that I'm on, and I was with Roger Stone, the Roger Stone. Yes. And I brought this exact subject up. We were talking about declaration of emergency, a state of emergency to get control of the election infrastructure and ban all mail-in ballots. At that moment, the White House called Roger Stone. While we're live on the air, the White House calls Roger Stone.
Yeah.
He looks down. He says, Brooks, I have to go. The White House is calling. I hate to do this, but I got to go. And that was the end of the interview.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Cool stuff.
Okay, well, if the White House is watching tonight because Brooks is on the show, I have one thing to tell me. Get me on the fucking UAP Advisory Council because you need me, because the people you have on there are fucking morons, which we are now going to talk about. Avi Loeb was given permission this week to assemble some sort of UAP. By the way, if you call it UAP, you're gay and retarded.
Yeah.
UAP task force. It's probably hard to read that right now. I'm going to read you the names, and I guarantee you haven't heard of any of them, maybe one. Dr. Richard Clody. Okay, who? Dr. Regina Sarmento. Professor Gary Nolan. I think I've heard that name before, but he might also have been the guitar player for Thin Lizzy, so that may be why I think I know the name. Dr. Tim Gallaudet. Professor Matthew Sizdagus. Dr. Devish Nandal, Professor Peter Skaffish, Dr. Michael Shermer, Dr. Janice Vilhauer, Dr. Omar El-Dai, and the whole thing is going to be run by Avi Loeb. The problem I have with that list is that none of those people know shit about UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call them, or aliens. They've not been involved. They've not studied the phenomenon. There are a bunch of academics whose tenure is online. These people can be easily manipulated, and I get the bad smell. Remember aliens.gov? The president implied it was an alien thing, and then it was just some funny joke, haha, about, illegal aliens. I don't trust Loeb. I don't trust any of these people because if they're academics are exactly the wrong people who should be studying this. Who should be studying this and bringing the cases to the table are people like Brooks and me and Whitley Strieber and other folks, experiencers like Tom Reed and Whitley, and people who have actually studied this phenomenon and know something about it and know what questions to ask. If they want to have a panel of some academic advisors to discuss it in the open in front of Congress, I'm fine with that. But this has a bad smell to me. Let's listen to what Avi Loeb had to say about it just yesterday.
What if you get attacked by Luna in 6 months because she says you're not towing whatever line she wants you to tow?
Oh, no. I'm not worried about that because I will basically follow whatever the data suggests. I mean, I'm not the kind of person that would, of course, I can suggest interpretations that are not confirmed. And I did that in the context of astrophysics because that's the way you operate. You just use your imagination. As Einstein said, the imagination is more important than knowledge. So given the data that we have, you can come up with possibilities, and then you decide which one is the correct one based on additional data. That's the way I will operate. But it's not as if I will bend my statements to political will, because whether we have a neighbor or not is not a matter of discussion. Either we have a neighbor or not.
Right.
For the same reason that either the Earth moves around the sun or the sun moves around the Earth. Now, so it's really all about the data and the quality of the data or getting new data that will help us figure it out. And so I don't think it's a political process. In fact, members of Congress on both aisles, of the political spectrum, they work together.
Okay, so what I have to say about that particular video is blink, 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 never look at the camera. That means you're lying. When you do this, you're not telling the truth. You are promoting a narrative. I've watched this government narrative evolve now for the better part of 7 or 8 years, since 2017, when they started the To the Stars Academy bullshit that came out. And we continue to not study the real cases. We continue to not talk about the real good cases where there's evidence. We continue to ignore them and let them be on the UFO shows. Here's the thing. Again, you have the wrong people. If these are your advisors, Mr. President, you have the wrong people advising you. Brooks, am I wrong?
I would say in the Pentagon, there are probably only 20 people out of the over 13,000 people that work there, only 20 people that are fully read in to this phenomenon, this UFO phenomenon. That's the group you have to get to. If you want to have full disclosure, you have to get to that group and you have to answer 2 questions. Well, demand 2 things. Number 1, open the warehouse and show us the ship, the one that you recovered. We want to see the ship. And number 2, bring out the alien. Bring out the alien. Bring him out in person, in front of everybody.
Yeah. And
that's how you get full disclosure.
Like in that stupid, ridiculous movie that I suffered through, Disclosure Day. Yeah, they bring out the alien at the last minute. You listen. You guys are screwing this up, Mr. President. If this is who you're putting in charge, you're screwing this up. Steve, you got any opinion on this, or do you not give a damn about aliens?
I really don't care, but there's never going to be full disclosure on anything. That's never going to happen. Secondly, I stick by what I said. If anybody, instead of reverse alien technology, if there are such a thing as aliens, which I don't believe there are, I believe they're of this world, And if they have advanced technology, it's because we gave it to them. They didn't give it to us.
Okay. Blake, any thoughts on this? This panel, the composition of this panel is completely not set to come to a true conclusion because there is not one single person on it who knows jack shit about the UFO phenomenon. So doesn't it just, to me, this stinks of a political narrative. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with you. I mean, there's got to be a better way to, filter out the who's who and who's telling the truth and who knows their stuff within that community and within the intelligence community of who's the good one, unless they're just trying to put out people that are there to, misinform or disinform. Yeah, I agree with Steve again. There's on the issue that, they're not going to really disclose anything until they absolutely corner them, and they'll admit like that much. So, no, I don't know if they have any issue or, an inclination to inform the public with what they know about the alien subject. So,
yeah,
not holding my breath.
And look, let's face it. We already have proof that aliens are real because guess what? We have the actual video of President Trump talking to the aliens this week on the White House grounds. Let's check it out.
They're not blue.
They're either aliens or they're Targaryens. I can't decide which. Did Trump negotiate a treaty to buy a couple of dragons from the Targaryens? Is that what this is? Look, this video is out here. There's stills to this video. Trump has not said anything about it or reposted it from what I know. So it's odd, but supposedly a bunch of AI analysis programs have said, as far as they can tell, it's not AI. So what the hell is it? It ain't the Kingsguard of Norway. We know this. Anybody have any idea?
I don't have any idea. I'd like to believe it's real. But
Edgar Winter clones.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I will tell you that all of those academics just ended their professional careers by being part of this committee.
Well, that could very well be, but maybe their careers were already over. I suspect if we went through that list, we would find that they all already have tenure, and therefore they can't be fired. So they can feel free to do this. But the thing is, there just isn't a brain among them who understands this phenomenon or its history or where to look, which implies to me they don't want to get to the truth. That's not what this is about. It's about coming to a certain political narrative at the end of it, which is upsetting.
Well, at least they didn't say Dr. Stephen Greer.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank God for that. All right, guys.
They should appoint Blake Wally because after his video on the Blue Men, I have been inundated with information coming in after his investigation on the Blue Men. So all he had to do was make a simple statement and boom, my mailbox is full.
All right.
There you go. I'm going to get to the bottom of that. Those are either Nordic aliens or they're the Morlocks, and they came from underground. Maybe they have the ancient technology they're holding on to, and they're the UFOs.
Morlocks.
They're in excess of 8 feet tall, which you did not mention.
In Excess was a really good band. It's too bad Michael Hutchins killed himself.
There you go.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you. I will be back tomorrow for the RV show on Real News Live with my new co-host. That will be at 3 p.m. Reno time, 6 p.m. Eastern. Stay strong, stay faithful, and believe in aliens. Bye.
Believe in Toxically Masculine Tuesday.
Believe in masculinity. Believe in masculinity. That's what's going to save the planet. Bye-bye.